Box office top 10 at 11. Who's the? Oh, this is Lawrence, or increasingly Larry, if not Loza.
Loza.
Dear Pearl and Dean, LTL, sporadic emailer, expat, denizen of the town with the worst statue in the world, a nurse to the homeless and marginalised hereabouts for the last couple of decades. Now, the worst statue in the world ran for quite a while.
Yes. What did we finally decide was the worst statue?
I think I think he might be meaning Perth in Australia, because I was in Perth and saw this terrible statue of Bon Scott out of AC/DC. I mean, literally, just Google it. It's embarrassingly terrible.
Is it as embarrassingly terrible as the wooden statue of Melania in her hometown, which literally looks like some child was given an axe and some paint?
Well, maybe that, and maybe we'll be back on again about the worst statue in the world. But I'm assuming that Lawrence is from Perth. But anyway, I watched Pearl with Eldest Sprogg.
Yeah, good.
A feminist and blue-haired by the Aussie idiom. Oh, there you go. There's another clue. It is Australia.
Yeah, it is Australia.
And the good doctor her indoors in a couple of senses, given that she helps those in the big house. While you noted in Pearl nods to the Wizard of Oz,
yes,
we feel you've missed the key analogy.
Okay.
As I might have, were I not outnumbered by daughters and a spouse, herself from a house full of sisters.
Okay.
Consensus here is that Pearl is Anne of Green Gables, the trauma-informed cut. How children really turn out when treated so.
Okay.
Eldest Sprogg hasn't laughed so much since Promising Young Woman. She's a student nurse, so that's standard. I'm proud of her and only a bit nervous about meeting a salty end should I require her care. Up with the BHFs, Ranger or otherwise, and hello to Jason. So Anne of Green Gables, the trauma-informed cut.
I confess, I can't remember. I mean, I've read Anne of Green Gables, but I can't remember anything about it. Can you? What's the...
No, and I haven't seen Pearl either, so...
No, that's... I'm perfectly happy to accept that may well be the case. I just can't... Not only have I read it, I think I've seen a TV series of it, but I remember nothing about it at all.
The thing about Lawrence here is he throws away at the end, I'm a bit nervous about meeting a salty end, should I require her care? A salty end?
No, that's great.
How about that?
I've just Googled the image of the Bon Scott statue in Perth, and you're right. That is magnificently terrible.
Someone commissioned that and thought it was really good.
Good heavens.
Anyway, number 10 here, as 6 in America, Cocaine Bear.
Which I think's really good fun, particularly considering the possibility of it just being all title and all trailer. I think it's really enjoyable.
9 here, 5 in the States, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
There was an article in the press about Michael Douglas not understanding how the movie worked, and it quoted you.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it quoted you asking him a question and him saying, I think it quoted you saying, have you seen all the other 29 or 31 Marvel movies, and him saying no in a way that implied that he hadn't seen any of them.
I think that's quite possible. Number 8 here, What's Love Got to Do with It, but not that one.
No, but it's still quite fun. I was on the train today, on the tube train. Yesterday, pardon me, and the huge big posters are still up. There is always something very nice about seeing the big double form posters for films. It's one when it's like the single sheet, but the big posters, because it's like a big release, and it's got Emma Thompson, it's got the stuff and everything. I think the film's perfectly fine. It's done all right. It's not great, but it's good fun. Its heart's in the right place.
I'm on a big poster again.
Are you?
Yeah, the greatest hits. We've got this big ad campaign, the bus ads, taxi ads. Huge billboard ads. Number 7 here, a new entry is Rye Lane.
Which is great. Terrific to see it going into the top 10. I think this movie's really lovely. Rain Alan Miller, it's essentially a kind of, it's like a before sunrise structure, 2 people getting to know each other in sunny South London locales. It's Peckham, it's Brixton, it's the South Bank. There is, obviously the film recognises that it has similarities with Richard Curtis rom-coms, and it makes a very, very astute gag about that, which is a very good way of diffusing it. I thought it was lovely. I think she's a terrific filmmaker. I think that both the leads are great as well. And I really hope that people continue to see this, because it's like, great, look, this is the kind of really accessible, it's streetwise grit, but it's also romantic fantasy. This is the kind of film we can make. Let's make more of this, please.
Kate Pruce PhD, brackets from the University of Manchester. I think she's just, trying to get your affections.
Yes.
Dear Love and Guactually.
And there's the joke. There it is.
I'm an LTL FTE finally writing into the show due to a personal connection to the wonderful Rye Lane.
Okay.
I was delighted to hear Mark's glowing review of the film and was particularly excited that he mentioned the writers by name, as Tom Melia is my cousin's husband. However, I feel the need to write in to correct Mark's pronunciation.
I said Melia,
Tom's
did I?
Surname, which should be Melia with a long E like Celia.
Okay, my mistake.
To make sure Tom gets the recognition he deserves. I'm sure you'll agree about the importance of this, especially after the recent Fraser debate.
Yes.
Anyway, I went to see Rye Lane last night and loved it. The humour, the joy, the brilliant performances and the uncredited cameo appearance by... which is probably a spoiler, in which case, please, Birdsong. I may be biased by the family connection, but would highly recommend going to see this uplifting film, says Kate Pruce. Thank you, Kate.
Can I just say, on the subject of name pronunciations, we do try to credit writers, because I think it is really, really important. One of the things that's very difficult is if you see a name written down and you don't know how it's pronounced, the only way you can find out is to see if you can find a video in which the person
says their own name.
And it's amazing how few of those there are. There is some...
You're saying it's Tom Millia's fault?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, there are things like Forvo, which is a place you can go to and it'll give you a pronunciation of a name, but only if the person is, one of the people that Forvo happened to have done. And I know there's a thing on Wikipedia now in which they attempt to like, I've looked my name up and it says it's got a phonetic thing. Mm-hmm. I wish there was for writers for movies, a thing which is, if you're a writer and if you're doing something, record a little video of yourself saying your name. It would be so helpful. I'm not blaming anyone, but it would be lovely to get it right, particularly if you've got a name like Kermode. I understand exactly how annoying it is for people's names to be mispronounced.
John McBrain, films like Rye Lane are one of the main reasons why I love your show as much as I do.
Oh,
it's
great.
The latest in a long list of films in which my interest was piqued because of an intriguing review from your good selves. I think I'm fairly certain that had you not reviewed Rye Lane last week, I would have glossed over it and almost certainly missed this absolute gem of a film. It was chock full of nods to similar rom-coms that have gone before, but at the same time, it had a quirkiness and style all of its own and some nice little surprises along the way to boot. It's a touching and sweet film that gave us a joyful end to our weekend. My life is better for having seen it, and the world of movies is better for its existence. Thank you for bringing this love letter to South London to our attention. As I said, this is why I love the show, Steve. Down with the bad and up with the good. Thank you, says John.
Can't argue with
McBrain.
that at all. Terrific.
Number 6 is Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. I think we've done enough about that. 65 is at 5 and 4 in America.
Yeah, still haven't seen it because they didn't show it to us. And actually this week has been packed because there was 7 films. So didn't take time out to see Adam Driver, Laser Beams and Dinosaurs, much as I would have liked to. I maybe could have fitted it in if John Wick 4 was 90 minutes long. But guess what?
Instead of nearly 3.
3.
Alleluia is at number 4.
Which I wasn't a fan of.
Henrik Hansen.
Oddly misjudged.
In Maidstone.
Yeah.
Dear not only, but also, I totally agree with Mark regarding Alleluia and its dark subplot that capsizes an otherwise NHS positive drama. It falls into a category of recent films that my wife and I call stealth sad movies, along with
that's a great phrase.
A Man Called Otto and Empire of Light. These are films which are marketed as feel-good but contain tragic plot lines. We can handle quality drama, just don't sell the movie as light-hearted when it definitely isn't, of which the best example was always Slumdog Millionaire. The feel-good hit of the summer.
That's right.
But
you know the bit when they're burning children's eyes out?
Yes.
You go, are we talking about the same film? The thing with Alleluia is that stealth subplot, when it reveals it, you go, sorry, what? What? And apparently the stage play, on stage, it kind of worked and it made more sense. In the film, in which the film is so heavily weighted towards saying, look, the NHS is a great thing, particularly with that final scene, the speech about the NHS during COVID, it just seemed so odd to have this, I thought, completely ill-judged subplot going on underneath it.
Number 3 is Scream 6. Number 2 is Creed 3.
Yeah, which I enjoyed.
And number 1 is Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Well, here's an interesting thing about this, okay? So I've seen Shazam! Fury of the Gods twice now. As I said when I reviewed it last week, I said it was kind of fun, but, it's all over the place and it's fluff and doesn't make any sense. I went to see it again because the good lady Professor Her... No, second time. I'd only seen it for once that time. The good lady Professor Her Indoors brought a group of Exeter film studies students up to London for a field trip, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things we did was we went to the IMAX, the BFI IMAX. And the thing that's on at the BFI IMAX is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. There were 40 of those students, and I think there were 44 people in the cinema on a Sunday. Now, okay, it's a Sunday night, and obviously it has gone to number one, so it's taken money.
It's doing fine.
But on anecdotal evidence, second time round, I enjoyed it more because it was bigger. I don't think it's packing them out, or I don't think it's going to be packing them out for much longer. I thought it was fun, but it's a mess.
I mentioned that I had a memory of Shazam being a big genie.
Yes, and apparently you misremember.
The memory that Simon has of Shazam isn't of Shazam with an M. It's of a
Shazam.
Hanna-Barbera cartoon circa 67, 68 called Shazam with an N, not an M. In this, a brother and sister, Chuck and Nancy, inevitably, had two halves of a ring which, when they put together, summoned a genie. This is exactly right.
Yes.
And then they had fantastic adventures.
I'd completely forgotten this.
It was shown in the UK on BBC One at around 1970, but it only ran one series and is now more or less forgotten, unlike other HB cartoons from the same era like Wacky Races and Scooby-Doo, which aren't really forgotten. The only reason I remember it is it had a magic flying camel in it called Kabooby. I'm not making this up. And my brother, who was at the time in his 20s, not 6, decided to call our family cat Kabooby. The much-loved Moggy lived for the next 16 years, and every time someone visited us and asked what the cat was called, the answer involved this really long-winded explanation about a cartoon series which no one ever remembered.
No one remembered other than you, although you misremembered it.
Yes.
I have no memory of it at all.
Yeah. One half of a ring, other half of a ring, put them together. Big
Shazam.
Big genie arrives called Shazam and not Shazam.
Wow.
For whatever reason. But thank you for the email, and you can get in touch once you've seen something you want to tell us stuff, correspondence@kermodeandmayo.com. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.